The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu. We got a great show for you talking about riders, Deflategate. I know that's a certain favorite category for one person here. As well as plenty of other interesting moments that happened throughout sports during the long weekend, including Grumpy Cat throwing the first pitch at the Arizona Diamondbacks game. Now, it's a great segue to go to our very own Grumpy Cat. Wow. Andrew Brethauer, how are you, man?
Wow. I'm going to get a shirt now. That's what I'm bringing in here. Not grumpy, yeah. We'll wait and give me 5 minutes and we'll be there.
All right, sounds good. But pleasure having you on once again. Hope you enjoyed the long weekend and got to relax a little bit.
Too much rain. Didn't get the golf game in, so.
All right, well, at least you're going to be here. You're going to be fired up, so that's going to be a good thing. Speaking of a guy who gets fired up, of course, Gord Thibodeau, the coach and GM of the Lloydminster Bobcats. Glad to have you on.
Great to be here. I've watched a few episodes. I've heard a lot, so I don't know if I can get up to Andrew's standards of Grumpy Cat, but I'll try.
Well, the good news is you came on the show after watching it, so that's always a positive. But glad to have you on, guys. And I guess we'll kick things off, like I was saying. Deflategate is now officially over. Tom Brady has been released. No 4-game suspension. The NFL looks foolish in terms of Roger Goodell and his authoritative, I guess, a dictatorship, if you will, in terms of the powers he had. Those look like they're going to be severely diminished after this. The judge had it bang on, in my opinion, for a league that started making up rules. And then all of a sudden, saying, no, that's not going to happen. I see this as a big win, obviously, for the players themselves. The judge, who also gets free Dunkin' Donuts coffee for the rest of his life. But more importantly, I guess the question that has to be asked is, what's next for Roger Goodell? Because if you look at, like I was mentioning, his powers, they're going to be severely reduced after this. You look at his tarnished, I guess, reputation over the last 12 to 16 months. It's been pretty bad. And Gordon, I want to give this to you. Where do you see Roger Goodell in terms of the landscape of the NFL in the next few years?
Well, the one key thing you left out is Roger Goodell makes a lot of money for the league. TV contracts, and really owners are concerned about one big thing, the financial picture. I think he's going to survive fine. I think what you're going to see is the NFL is going to take disciplinary stuff out of his hands. They're going to have to hire somebody independently who's going to do that. And I think Roger, probably after the embarrassment of the last 16 months, is probably okay with that. But I think it's hard to get rid of a guy that makes money for the owners. That's really what it comes down to for them, is $1 billion TV contracts. Roger's a big part of that, and he makes a lot of money, but he also earns it for the NFL. And I think as long as he's doing that, you can have a hard time getting him out.
I don't care anymore. I'm so tired of listening to this. They have to take power away, as you said. If they don't, it's like redoing the same thing. Isn't it insanity? Doing the same thing over again, and that's what the NFL's doing. They make so much money. Like, I don't know why they don't take the power away from him. Not to, he needs to have power to control the NFL, but not maybe that part of it. He clearly doesn't know what he's doing.
It was a part of the CBA, and obviously we saw the bad side come out of it. But honestly, Gord, to what you were mentioning about he makes the NFL a lot of money, let's be honest. A Grumpy Cat could make the NFL a lot of money. I don't think Goodell is the guy that necessarily is that, because the product is that good. He's just the one who's, I guess, been fortunate to be the head of this program, but I don't, or the league. But I don't see him as being the guy. I don't think he'll be with the league in the next 2 years.
Well, I think if he rides off, he's going to get a heck of a nice settlement. You've got a lot of owners that I think Roger is a very important part of the puzzle because they can control him. I think that there's a certain group of owners that anyone in that position, if they can control, and as you said, you could put Grumpy Cat there and he would have made money for the NFL, there's no question. But owners and guys that are that well off don't typically like other people running their business. They want to run it themselves, or they want someone in there that they can control and run it. And I just think he's entrenched. I think part of this Deflategate is a backlash from him not acting on Spygate. I think there's a group of owners that frankly weren't very happy with how he handled that, and it was a chance for him to maybe try to stick it to the Patriots as a make-up call for what he didn't do previously.
I think it was just a make-up call for his inability to actually properly punish guys like Ray Rice or some of the other players, Alden Smith, another one with the 49ers. That's how I see this whole thing. I know you want to get into a different topic because you look like you're going to suffer through a migraine. How about this, my friend? We'll talk about the NFL itself. Kicks off Thursday with the Patriots and the Steelers. It's going to be a great matchup to kind of see things going, but you have a lot of other great teams in the mix. Russell Wilson getting that brand new contract. He looks like he wants to get back to another Super Bowl and win it, and they look pretty decent without, despite losing Cam Chancellor, or at least the potential of that as well. Well, Aaron Rodgers, another guy they could throw in the mix. I guess my question for you guys is, who's your Super Bowl favorite going into the season?
I'm going with Indy. I feel like they've added enough to make them that team. Adding Frank Gore, he's getting up there, but he's still Frank Gore. He still can bring something that they haven't had. They haven't had a running game that could be dominant or can actually get touchdowns. So I think that adding that is huge. Adding Andre Johnson, a receiver and a weapon that they can use, that just makes that offense even more powerful. So I think in this kind of throwing age, that's the team I'm going to pick.
I think that's a great pick. I mean, that's a team that it's a quarterback-driven league. Andrew Luck is destined to win at some point, I think. But I'm going to go with Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, I think, has done a remarkable job. Losing Jordy Nelson's going to hurt. But I just feel like, he's a guy that can carry that team. I think there's going to be some fall off with Seattle and New England, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Indianapolis and Green Bay in the Super Bowl.
I'm going to say the Patriots one more time just because of what's happened to them. It galvanizes you as a team. If there's any greater motivator outside of Tom Brady in the huddle, it's Bill Belichick, the coach. And I think they're going to build something. I think they might repeat it. Yeah. Exactly. That's what's going to happen there. Very quickly, how about this? We talk about Super Bowl favorites. What about Grey Cup favorites? We just saw on Labor Day two potential teams that look extremely good. Hamilton's defense is off the charts of late. On top of that is Andrew Claros, 4 touchdowns. That offense just keeps on rolling with the weapons he has. Then you look at the other side in the West. Calgary Stampeders are the class right now, if you look at the generational teams of this decade in the CFL. They proved it again. Offense just needs to get what it needs to be done. Just get the ball moving, give it to Cornish, get a couple of touchdowns. The weapons are certainly there, but that defense, Charleston Hughes, what can you say? They are unstoppable. I say this is going to be a Grey Cup preview. Do you guys agree?
I would say that it likely is. I think Hamilton is in. They're a very well-coached team. The thing that worries me about the Stampeders is they just don't create a lot of separation offensively. And I'm still an Eskimo believer. I think if Riley gets back, I think their defense is every bit as good as Calgary's. And if you leave a game, in the defense's hands, it can turn very quickly. So I'm not giving up on the Eskimos just yet. I would say Hamilton's almost a shoo-in in the East, but I still think the Calgary-Edmonton battle, and that's what it's going to come down to in the West Final.
And I'm iffy if both of them even make it there, simply because how much more season there still is to go and how much they're not really that far ahead. Hamilton's not far ahead in the standings. Calgary's a couple games up too. So I think there's still some room that someone else gets hot, like a Toronto could possibly leapfrog into that picture, but I think those are your top two, but we'll see.
I say Hamilton is the class of the East. They've proven it the last few years. I could see them in the Grey Cup. Hopefully they don't turn into the Buffalo Bills and keep going to Grey Cups but end up losing them. Or Saskatchewan Roughriders in this case. All right, guys, speaking of those Riders, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to talk about their victory. And, of course, with that victory, what are their playoff chances like? Stay tuned.